Welcome back. We've heard it before. The South Bronx is the poorest urban congressional district in the country, and families have suffered immensely throughout the pandemic in regards to food insecurity, health disparities, and the exacerbated digital divide. South Bronx Rising Together envisions a South Bronx that is vibrant and full of infinite opportunity, and they've been advocating for families to thrive and lead equitable lives in their communities. Joining us now to share more is Christina Samuels. Christina is the director of South Bronx Rising Together. Welcome, Christina. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Just to start off, for those who are not familiar, can you give us a little background on South Bronx Rising Together and your mission?
Sure, of course. SBRT is a Cradle to College and Career Collective Impact Initiative coordinated by Children's Aid. Our mission is to build a more equitable system in the South Bronx where young people and their families not only succeed, but they thrive. We convene community residents, nonprofits, businesses, and government officials to tackle the obstacles facing our young people today, primarily in the education and early childhood spaces. So during the pandemic this year, we've been working with family childcare providers to keep them in business and support working families, and to fight for Bronx students who have been impacted greatly by the digital divide and the sudden and long-lasting shift to remote learning.
Thank you so much, Christina, for providing that background. Let's talk about digital equity. Please help us define what it means, first of all, and what is it, and as well as the digital divide as well.
Sure. So I think at this point, there's no unified definition of digital equity. People have quite a variety of ways of defining it. But what we all know and agree on is that it means that all community members have access to the technological tools, resources, and skills that they need to thrive in the 21st century economy. So what that looks like for students is an abundant access to age-appropriate devices, such as a tablet or laptop, reliable, fast, low-cost internet, and the digital skills needed to succeed in school and career. But unfortunately, there's a digital divide across the country and within our city where students in low-income communities don't have equal access to the digital tools and resources that they need to compete with their more affluent peers. To date, the DOE has distributed over 300,000 technology devices to students in need citywide. This means that even before March, more than a third of public school students didn't have reliable access to a device in their homes and weren't learning the technological skills needed to be successful in today's world at the same rates as their peers. In the Bronx, more than 18% of households were without internet before the pandemic. That's almost 1 in 5 families in the Bronx without access to internet, including dial-up, broadband, or cellular data plans. So we need to do better for our children and families and recognize that in 2021 and beyond, widespread technology and internet access are essential to the success of students and families and a thriving economy, not just during a pandemic.
Absolutely. Christina, I recently read a piece on NPR about students who have fallen off the grid and, as scary as it sounds, disappeared through virtual learning. With over 212,000 students allegedly learning online here in the Bronx, what does this mean for the future of our kids? Are they displaced from education forever? Is there a chance for them to come back in this new year, or what is going on?
Yeah, it's no secret that many students haven't logged into their classes since the start of the school year, and many more are showing up inconsistently. We know that hundreds, if not thousands, of students are still without a device or internet access and aren't able to log on. Many are part of families facing the threat of eviction and food insecurity, and many more are facing the same burnout and frustration and anxiety that we as adults are experiencing. So it's a pretty grim situation for our students. But I will say that Bronx students are resilient, and I see that day in and day out in the work that we're doing. One day, schools will reopen, and educators and friends will be able to share space and learn together again. We'll soon be able to assess the learning loss that students may have experienced and develop the proper supports to get them back on track. And in the meantime, SBRT and our partners, many of whom are school staff, are working hard to keep families connected to their school and to support their social and emotional well-being as they cope with the pandemic. So for so many, schools are a lifeline to food, healthcare, social services. So we're working with our school partners to stay in touch with families and encourage students to log into their classes. We're also working with schools to develop a healing-centered program for students and their staff to heal during what's turned out to be a very, very difficult year.
Right. Thank you for sharing, Christina. Another thing South Bronx Rising Together, along with other community leaders and partners, recently did was you signed and sent a letter to the mayor demanding digital equity. Could you tell us about this letter, and have you heard back from the mayor? What's next following this letter?
Sure. Yes, we did send a letter to him about a month ago. We sent it to the mayor and Chancellor Carranza asking for several things, including age appropriate devices for all students, fast, reliable internet access, and holding internet service providers accountable, clearer communication from the DOE on the timelines and troubleshooting for the devices that they're sending out, assessing the quality of the remote learning that students are getting, and also ensuring that student data is protected. We haven't heard back from the mayor or the chancellor's office yet, but we'll continue to raise awareness of the issue and the community's demands until Bronx students achieve the digital equity that they deserve.
Got it. Let's hope that they do respond to that letter. It's very important to get engaged with community leaders in regards to the issues that we're facing here in our dish in our Bronx, in
Hopefully.
our borough. Yeah, hopes. Christina, I wanted to track back. I realized that I wanted to also ask you to emphasize on the healing centered network at schools and why that's important in this age and even before the pandemic.
Sure, yeah. So at the height of the pandemic over the summer, our school and community partners shared that what students most need right now is a way to heal during and after the pandemic. Over the school year, well, this school year, we've been working with the community schools in Bronx Community District 3 to develop healing-centered approaches in the physical and virtual classroom. So one school that we're working with is trying to increase parent engagement by building supportive environments and increasing trust with the school. And another has put together an 8-week virtual after-school program for all of their students with a simple goal of providing them with a space to come together and heal. Additionally, we've also started a virtual parent community for Bronx parents to come together, share their accomplishments and frustrations during this time, and to get access to resources on topics like food access, managing emotions for their young ones, and literacy development, among a bunch of other things that we've been talking about. As part of the event series, we're also hosting a monthly cafecito where parents can come together and discuss what's on their mind when it comes to their kids and their families and their community.
I love that name, South Bronx Cafecito. How can people get a little bit of that cafecito? How can they join? Where can they find out more about this event?
Yeah, of course. Our first cafecito will actually be tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Parents are going to be coming together to discuss, what is at the top of their mind during the pandemic for their kids and their families. So if you're a parent of a toddler and an elementary school student, you can please join us. You can sign up. There's a bit.ly link, which I can share now. It's bit.ly/SBRT parents, where SBRT and the P in parents is capitalized. Or if it's easier, you can just go onto our Facebook. So search for South Bronx Rising Together, and you can see the event there and sign up for it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Christina. Before we go, how can people stay in touch with SBRT and learn more about your work? And just a message for parents and families, children during this time. Just about tech equity and just coming together as a community and the importance of you working with other partners during these hard times.
Sure. So to stay in touch with us, we're on Twitter and Instagram with the handle South Bronx RT. And then we're also on Facebook if you just search for South Bronx Rising Together. And if you'd like to get involved, or if any of the things that we've talked about today are of interest, you can always email me at Christina, it's with a CH, at risingtogether.org. And I would just say to parents and students in the Bronx, this has been an incredible year. 2020 was an incredible year leading into 2021. And while we've experienced, so many frustrations and obstacles and barriers, we've also come together as a community to stand up for what we want and what we need, right? We see it time and time again, people taking to the streets to demand what they need, and South Bronx Rising Together and Children's Aid is here for the community and will be right in that fight with you.
Thank you so much, Christina Samuels, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Again, Christina Samuels is the director of South Bronx Rising Together. You can stay in touch with them online at risingtogether.org and follow them at South Bronx RT on social media. The South Bronx Cafecito will be taking place tomorrow, Wednesday, January 13th at 6 p.m. You can stay in touch with them again on their social media handles in order to join the conversation. We'll be right back.